Yo, what's the vibe, guys? RasLunacy back again with another video. Today's video we're going to be talking about how to do what you need to get done, aka we're all big on self-improvement, wanting to be the best versions of ourselves. We all know that's what the goal is, to find your purpose and become the best version of yourself through self-improvement. We all know this, basic knowledge. Everyone knows this at this point. It's neither here nor there. The problem is that it's easier said than done. You get me? So we need a way to figure out how to do what we want to or need to get done. We just need to find a way. And it's going to be different from individual to individual. Obviously, there are people in different circumstances. Some of you may be 13 years of age, living with your parents. Therefore, even if you want to go vegan, you cannot, because you do not cook for yourself, you do not buy your own food, and if your parents do not agree with veganism, you're screwed. However, what you can do, what can you do? You can start, let's say you get lunch money to go to school. Well, not because you're not vegan at home doesn't mean you can't minimize it to an extent. So let's get that vegan meal at school instead. Instead of getting that fried chicken or that burger or whatever they sell at your school, why not get that vegan option where you see that Muslim guy around the corner always doing, what you see that Rasta guy around the corner always doing. Let's do what they're doing. Or screw it, let's say it's not veganism. Let's say you know, when you're 13 years old, or when you're young, or when you're living with parents, you're very limited with being able to control a lot of aspects of your life. So you may be very big on getting into the gym, exercising, stuff like that, but your parents don't see it as a priority, and maybe money's a bit tight, so they tell you to take up a sport at school or whatever the case is. But maybe you just don't like the sports that they offer at your school. Maybe you don't like the people within the sport that you want to do. Well, it's time, let's say that sport is football, or if you're an American, I guess I have 60% people who watch my videos United States people. So let's say soccer, which is not the correct term. I'll have you know, people from the USA, it is called football. I don't know what that rugby looking thing y'all are calling football, but football is the name of the sport that you use your feet to kick the ball and your hands do not get involved. That is football. Anyways, that rant is over completely. Let's say the sport is football and you don't like the people within the sport. Well, it's time for you to save up that lunch money and buy your own football and practice at home. It's time for you to take a walk into the community and find those boys within the community that play a bit of football from time to time. And you know, this is all nice and dandy to say, but let's really get into the meat and potatoes of the matter. How to do what we need to get done. Alright, so self-improvement. You know, things like we want to stop watching pornography, we want to stop masturbating, we want to stop telling lies, we want to be honest, we want to be virtuous, we want to be people of high moral standards, we want to do what's best for us, we want to be self-improving, there's a lot of things we need to get done, more things we want to do. So the key of it all is that for yourself, and this is going to be separate for everyone, it's going to come down to knowing who you are as a person at the end of the day. And in order to figure out who you are as a person, it's going to take actually sitting down and being bored. It's going to take a lot of different things. I'm going to introduce you to two terms right now, and these terms are going to be things that will help you figure out your true self. The first term is going to be dopamine detox, and the second term is going to be monk mode. They basically mean the same thing, but they're a bit different. A dopamine detox is basically when you take away your instant gratification or pleasures. It's going to be different from person to person, your instant gratifications or your vices or whatever the case. Some people are social media addicts, and this is especially true for our women these days. And because our women, and it's the reason our women are social media addicts, and the reason they have such inflated egos. If you watch my video before, I really go into depth as to why modern day relationships fail so often. The reason is because we as men are not men anymore. We place so much emphasis on our sexual desires, and that is why the porn industry, and that's why masturbation is so, that's why it's so, I can't think of the word I'm trying to use right now, but it's so prevalent in our society right now that it's because of many different reasons why it's prevalent. That needs to be a completely video from itself. But men these days are fiends to their sexual desires, whether that be with women, simping online, messaging women, hey, I love you 10 times for the last 10 days and not getting a response, whether it's liking all her pictures at once, whether it's commenting. And the reality of the situation is there's probably nothing wrong with gassing a girl or a woman. There's nothing wrong with it per se. However, is that shouldn't be your priorities in life. Social media has become a very toxic environment because we can see that women control social media. Men, as much as women like to talk about the patriarchy and blah blah blah, it is our women that control social media. Now, I'm not talking about the real world, I'm not talking about whatever the case is, but social media is controlled by women, and it is because we have so much men that pander to women. They even if it is against their own views, they'll agree with women because they want to be in good standings with women, I guess is what it's meant to say. So it's becoming a point in society where slowly but surely our society is becoming more and more feminized. So we're having less manly men and more men that are just, to be quite frank, bitches. So let's get into how do you gain good moral standards and values and views? Well, you have to have rules for yourself. In order to have good moral standards, if you don't have standards, it means you stand for nothing. And if you stand for nothing, it means you will go along with everything. And if you go along with everything, it means you don't know who you truly are, which comes back to the original part of the video. If you go along with everything, if you have no thought for yourself and you just go with what the media tells you, or what the TV tells you, or what that person tells you, your parents, your teacher, your friends, it doesn't matter what. You have to be able to think for yourself first. And in order to be able to do that, you need to set up a few rules and standards for yourself. All right, so let's get into some rules that all of us can use to help us get to that next level of self-improvement in order to actually do what we said we need to get done. Instead of going to the gym once and not hitting back the gym until the next month, and then not hitting back the gym until the next month, or maybe you've not hit the gym at all. You've bought maybe you've gone and you've actually subscribed to the gym and you've actually now have a monthly subscription, but you still are yet to set foot in there. Maybe you haven't done the monthly subscription yet even. There's, as I said, everyone's an individual and are in different journeys, different paths. So you should never try to compare yourself to another person. And it is the reason why, since you're not comparing yourself to the other person, you shouldn't necessarily be listening to that person. You should be forming your own views and values about the world and society we live in. So that being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes. So the rules we will be going by, the rules I use personally, and you can switch them up a little bit. You need rules for three different things. For short-term goals, for mid-term goals, and then for long-term goals. Short-term goals are going to be things you need to do immediately. These are going to be things like washing the dishes while you're cooking. These are going to be things like doing your laundry. This is going to be things like waking up on time. This is going to be things, the simple things. This is going to be the things, having a shower. Things that you know you need to be doing right now, but you procrastinate and put it off until maybe it doesn't get done, or you do it so late that something more important gets pushed back. And the rule where I like to implement for these things is called the 10-second rule. And while I get into these rules, I'm going to introduce you to a channel called Matt Diavella. It will be linked in the description below. Matt Diavella has over maybe 2 million subscribers now, but he is a minimalist and he does these 30-day challenges of cold showers, 30 days of fasting, 30 days of whatever the case may be. And in order to do things like that, it takes a very strong mental fortitude. But he makes a very good video on the rules he uses. Now, the 10-second rule is what I like to use, and I use it mostly when it comes to waking up. I like to wake up early. I'm a morning person. I like to wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever the case. And you might be thinking, that's a bit early. But remember, we're all different individuals, and you cannot compare yourself to the next person. 4 a.m. is late for me. And that's normal. Because my dad, for the last 20 years of his life, has woken up at 3 a.m. So I'm lacking. Waking up at 4 a.m., I'm slacking off, bro. So, maybe you're someone who's more of a night person. So you like to work deep into the night. Maybe all the way to 1 a.m. In that case, waking up at 7 a.m. isn't that bad, is it? It's not that serious. You see, I prefer to go to bed early and to wake up early. But everyone's an individual. We all have our different goals. But the problem a lot of people have with waking up on time is not actually their alarm. It's not actually anything to do with waking up on time. It's not the waking up process that actually holds people back from waking up on time. It's actually the going to sleep process that stops people from waking up on time. So if we don't go to bed on time, then obviously we're not going to wake up on time. And going to bed on time does not mean, all right, it's 10 p.m. I need to wake up at 6. And you go to bed at 10 p.m. now, and you look at the time, check Instagram quick, let's see what's happening on TikTok, let's make a tweet, let's check some YouTube, fall asleep at probably midnight. So when the 6 a.m. alarm goes off, you've had 5.5 or 5 and a little bit hours of sleep. That's not enough for you to be constructive throughout the day. And even if you do wake up on time, as the day goes on and you get to the evening parts of your day, you're going to slowly be crashing. And what that's going to cause is for you to actually end up not being as productive in the evenings and in your nights. And if you're a night person, then you've screwed up your most productive time of the day. So let's get deeper into this thing now. The 10-second rule. What other than waking up? So how do I use the 10-second rule? Well, I like to, obviously most people are just going to use it in terms of, the key to it is that whatever thing it is you need to do right now, you're going to either count to 10 or count down from 10. And what that will do is, once you hit the last number, you have to do what you have intended to do. How I like to do it, for example, is I like to put a word in between, a motivational word in between. So let's say I'm meant to be waking up in the mornings, a motivational word or phrase. So I'll say 10, wake up. 9, wake up. 8, wake up. And I'm not saying it out loud, I'm saying it in my head. But with each wake up, I kind of push myself a bit more. So when I say 2, wake up, I'm getting up. I'm pushing myself. I'm getting up at 1. Now, that's not to say I might not wake up, brush my teeth, wash my face, watch a YouTube video and go back to bed. That's not to say that. That's going to come back to discipline. But that's one step of the way there, getting up. That's one step of the way there, getting up on time. So that's the 10-second rule. You can use it when you need to do your laundry. You can use it when in any way that you need to do something immediately, and you can use it to probably avoid negative things as well that you need to avoid doing negatively as well. So let's say you get the urge to masturbate or to watch porn and masturbate. Let's say it's the 10 p.m. example again. You're meant to be going to bed and you're checking your phone, and while you're scrolling through Instagram, there's a baddie that pops up, a bad E. Well, as soon as you get the idea of porn, you need to instantly start the countdown. Instantly. 10, I won't do it. 9, I won't do it. 8, I won't do it. 7, I won't do it. 6, I won't do it. 5, I won't do it. 4, I won't do it. 3, I won't do it. 2, I won't do it. 1, put the phone away, put it on charge across the room, go to your bed. Go to your bed. And it may not work every time, but the more you do it and the more successful the countdowns become, is the more it will become automatic. For example, sometimes I don't even get to 1. Sometimes I don't do the countdown at all anymore when I need to wake up. But sometimes I start the countdown 10, Mississippi, 9, Mississippi, 8, screw it, I know I'm going to get up anyways. Let me just get up now. So I know myself now. I know when I get to the 1 and I'm pushing myself, I'm going to do it. So by the time I get to 8, I already realized to myself, I'm going to get up anyways. What's the point of these 7 seconds of sleep? And I get up anyway. It's like, screw it at this point. What the hell is the point of the countdown anymore? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So that's the 10-second rule. So let's go into more midterm goals. This is going to be things that you need to probably do every 24 hours to 48 hours. And what I like to use is the 2-day rule, but the 3-day rule works in some circumstances as well. So with the 2-day rule, it means that if you skip 1 day of this thing, you have to therefore do it the next day. And I would suggest the 2-day over the 3-day rule. But so let's use exercise. I use the 2-day rule when it comes to exercise and meditation. So if I skip a day, it means I am guaranteed have to know, come come hell and high water, I have to do it the next day because I skipped a day. And what this does is it forces me to do it every day, because I don't know what may happen tomorrow, and I may need to skip a day just due to circumstances. I may have to suddenly go to a funeral, or I may need to take care of something, and I'm out for the whole day and I don't get to go to the gym. So and therefore, maybe let's say I have a way out of a day I wouldn't expect, and I ended up having to skip a gym day. And I'll be on that day knowing that the next day I have a 15-hour shift at work, and I'll be saying to myself, shit, I'm either gonna have to, when I get back home at midnight, hit a really late night gym workout and still go to my 15-hour shift, or I'm gonna have to do my 15-hour shift and wake up early before the 15-hour shift to actually do my workout, or do it after the 15-hour shift. All of which sounds stressful. So I'm forced to actually do it every single day and stay consistent, because I can't afford to skip days due to my 2-day rule. Same can be said for meditation. It's a bit different for meditation now. With meditation, it's not as, circumstances can stop you. You can meditate at any point in time, and you can meditate for any period of time. For me, I personally suggest at least 3 minutes of meditation. And I'd just say, because it's so easy to do, you really should be giving yourself no excuse. You don't have 3 minutes in the bus to sit down, stop listening to music. Yes, there are sounds all around you. It's not completely silent, but just focus on your breath. Close your eyes. Suddenly, I literally feel more calm already than unfortunately, I've just had a coffee, so I'm a bit hyperactive at the minute. But as you can see clearly, just by 5 seconds of meditation, I'm suddenly a lot more at peace, and then I'm a lot more mindful of where I am. I realize there are people walking around that can hear me. Suddenly I'm a lot more present within my moment. Yes, I was very focused on this video, shouting everywhere, waving my hands, blah, blah, blah. But suddenly I'm a lot more present, mindful of my surroundings. I'm present and mindful of the video. I'm present and mindful of just what I'm doing here now. Do you understand me? So now that's the midterm rules. This video is getting long. I don't want it to get to 20 minutes. So let's now get into the long-term ones. Now, this is going to come down to what I like to call the 3-year rule. And this is going to be for your big boy goals. Your big boy goals. That YouTube channel, that business, that social media account, this is for the big boy goals. Your university course, your certification, this is for the big boy goals now. The big boy goals. And the key to this is completely different from the 2-day rule and the 10-second rule now, because the key to this is, because you've given yourself 3 years, it becomes less anxiety driven. It becomes less of you thinking you're not doing enough about this big long-term goal, because you know it's a long-term goal. If you look here, it might be on that side, but I think it's going to be right here. You'll see that I've done a video about goals before. Now, if you look back at that video, my music was very loud, and it was actually over my voice. And in that video I said within 3 years, that video was 3 years ago, within 3 years it said I wanted to hit 1,000 subscribers. I didn't upload for 2 of those 3 years, and I still hit 1,000 subscribers. That's what I like to call manifestations. I didn't even have to be consistent. I just had to make sure what I was putting out was true to me and true to what I wanted to put out. And that was all I needed to do. So let's get back into, so now we know about the rules. These are the rules you're going to implement. And as I said, you can switch and turn them based on your individual preferences. So let's say you're someone who realizes the 10-second rule, you're counting down from 10 and you're still just ignoring it. You're still not getting out of bed, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you need to cut down the timer. Try the 5-second rule. Because sometimes, based on our ADHD levels, based on our attention levels, we're all individuals. We're all different. You might need the even longer times. You might need the 20-second rule. But you're going to play, as I said, you can use my rules to give yourself a bit of a skeleton, and you can use our framework, and you can use that to now create rules that will work exactly for you. We're about to hit the 20-minute mark, so that's been my video on how to do how to get done what you need to get done. That's been the vibe. That's been RasLunacy signing out.